I'd love to use the filibuster. The SAVE Act is very important. Voter ID, I mean, if you look at it, you have to have proof of citizenship. Everybody wants it.
It's your morning addiction. Wake Up Missouri with Stephanie Bell.
We lost 4 brave Americans, and we can never, ever, ever forget them.
The Zimmer News Team.
We're saying the threat has come to an end.
And now, introducing your host, Randy Tobler.
I thought we'd start the show off with a little Americana in the end of the banner there by Charlie Puth. We didn't play it yesterday, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of that.
Have you done a deep dive on him and his perfect pitch yet?
I haven't.
I'm going to play it for you in the break.
Reliving the end of the Star-Spangled Banner with the fist bump between the fighter pilots as they flew over. I mean, it was just so dramatic and beautiful and wonderful. And the reason I play it on this Tuesday opening to Wake Up Missouri is because it was in my doom scrolling prep that I do for you every day. We're always scrolling the world. Stephanie's scrolling the world.
Randy,
John,
I don't know that you've ever done anything but doom scroll.
John is scrolling
Mr.
the world.
Poopy Pants.
Drake is scrolling the world just so we can bring you every exciting edition.
You're on a different side of the TikTok than I am, I think.
And
mine's like bunnies and not the bad kind.
I can't get
Fluffy
out of
bunnies. And
I can't get out of my Armageddon scrolling algorithm. It's not.
It's a doom loop.
So I was just
self-fulfilling prophecy.
I was
right?
fresh off of posting the Charlie Puth beautiful Star-Spangled Banner, perfect pitch, wonderful rendition, the flyover. And then it was the eagle, the little chick, and the little Clydesdale pony, and they end up the mature Clydesdale and the eagle soaring off of his back. And then I ran across the translation of the Bugs Bunny Spanish words into the English. And I kept looking, and I kept looking, and I kept seeing it, and I kept wanting to not believe it was real. Please tell me it isn't.
And then you said, thank goodness they sang it in Spanish.
Right. And I thought, but do the FCC rules apply to Spanish vulgarity as much as they do to English vulgarity? Apparently
now,
they don't.
Is the translation you saw the actual one, or are we sure it's true?
Well, I don't know. And I keep asking. No one has told me. And I cannot find anywhere normally on X, now that they have the community comments, I haven't seen anything that says that translation is not real, that it's fake, that's made up. So I don't know if you speak Spanish and if you were able to go through and understand any of that, don't call us. I don't know. Is our text monitored by the FCC? I don't even want to know. I just want to know if what we're seeing online about that, which absolutely, totally vindicates me. Wait till I see Scotty from Clear 99 this morning.
I think his big hit, what's the name of it? I can't remember. It basically is a tale about being real drunk. That's
the one I'm reading right now.
Well, this wasn't a tale about that.
It was about being drunk and then in the car and in a lot of different places. On the table, in the car, on the beach. About
in
the motel,
men and women's parts and where things fit, and it was just.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God! This is I was blushed. And
Can I open it on the work computer?
At your own peril.
Okay.
I don't know. But
malicious sight.
It's just vulgar and crude. It would make this would make a drunken, inebriated, on the verge of passing out sailor blush. And it's just,
we have to be a little bit fair because, we've been praising who? Is it Nicki?
Nicki Minaj.
And her lyrics are, ooh.
I haven't been praising her. I'm recognizing that
I would say the right generally, right?
Yeah. But I think it does speak to the stark difference between the worldview of folks that are absolutely okay with that. Now, Jimmy Kimmel, to his credit, came out and said, well, it's funny how many people that have no clue, have never heard a Bugs Bunny song, are now suddenly avowed Bugs Bunny fan. Can't wait for it. They were all excited because they knew that the people on the right, they were going to be watching TPUSA, were against it.
Okay, I'm sorry, Randy, to poop on your big rant.
You sure are.
I hate to poop on your big rant.
It's not a rant. There's no rant.
You're getting a little heated. I can see it in your face.
I am stating fact.
Let's do breathing exercise. In, out.
Stating fact.
It's a halftime show.
And you never have to hear him again if you don't want.
But kids were watching that with their parents, probably.
Kids were watching Kendrick Lamar last year. Kids were watching Dr. Dre, Eminem, and all of that. I don't think he's any worse than everyone else. It's just that
kids were watching
Spanish.
Janet Jackson.
Now, that was a technical error.
Wardrobe malfunction.
To this day, we don't know if that wardrobe malfunction was planned or if it was an accident. We don't know.
But anyways, my point is, Randy, I don't necessarily like it, but I thought it was kind of cool with the trumpets and all that. It had a beat to it. I just didn't understand a word he said.
Well, and I've said that the beat's fine, but you can separate that from the vulgarity of it all. It's just disgusting. But anyway,
are you a Spanish expert?
I'm just saying what I'm seeing, and I have not seen disputed, is other people who claim to be translators. It's just shocked me. It takes a lot to shock me. That shocked me.
Does it, though?
It does.
And defense of Bad Bunny. If you compare him to the mainstream top of the charts hip-hop guys, his lyrics are no better, no worse.
And I have been equally pejorative of those people. I think it debases our culture when we celebrate and recognize that as normative and acceptable.
Do you remember? I hope he does it. Do you remember after WAP came out, Ben Shapiro just straight read the lyrics on his show?
Mm-hmm.
And it was... It was hilarious. I hope he does that with the Bad Bunny lyrics.
You've seen that occasionally at council meetings. There's a book that's in the library for fifth graders, and some mom, will get up there and just start reading it, and the Board of Education is cringing. Thank you. Next. That's all. Your time's up. No. I want you to hear what you are having your students, my daughter, my son, learn. Hey, well, we're going to be talking to Chris Arps today because, in the wake of that controversy about Donald Trump claiming that he posted a video last Friday night, early in the morning, Thursday night, early Friday morning, that got him into a lot of hot water with many people, including Tim Scott. Tim Scott, who's very active in the re-election process for the senatorial side, called him out on that. Well, our friend Chris Arps also was quite forward in his opinion of that, and we're going to touch base with him, ask him what he thinks about Bugs Bunny, how many of those albums and CDs and he owns. We'll see what he thinks about that. That'll be at about 7:10, and also then we talk with Brad Jones on our monthly visit with Brad to see how the National Federation of Independent Business Optimism Index and the Employment Index and all the different components that go into that, how that's rolling out as it's hot off the press this morning.
Right, and because our jobs data and our inflation data was delayed, I think from last week to this week, it'll be our first real look at some of those economic indicators in the last month.
We continue to, I don't know, I just think we've got another battle that's going. I don't see any solution to the problem that we have with this DHS funding, and they're not going to really defund ICE, the Democrats aren't, but they're going to make some splash out of it.
The big, beautiful bill that we passed last July fully funds and the ICE operations that Democrats are so angry about. So what they've done is put at risk the TSA funding. No one wants to go to the airport and have to wait hours to get on a plane. They put at risk the air traffic controllers that are showing up to work.
So now you're going to be doing some traveling later this week, and when you come back early next week, does that mean you won't have TSA? You won't have... You won't have air traffic controllers coming back. Who knows?
Sorry, y'all. Good luck.
Yeah?
Yep. Bye.
So, the ICE was funded through 28, 29 with the big, beautiful bill. So they're not going to defund the things that they're making the big play over.
Yeah.
I don't know. Democrats they don't.
I don't know. During the last shutdown, TSA was fine.
Yeah, they did good.
But, there are other reasons.
Yeah. Well,
to avoid Missouri currently. Although the weather has been super beautiful. Last night, I took my computer out on my deck. My kids were out in the yard playing football and riding bikes. Yeah. It was a stunning evening.
I couldn't get to sleep, and I couldn't stay asleep because I was like in...
all that vitamin D radiating.
I was like in manic hit mode. I hadn't done it for a while, but I went out and did the walk-run thing. I'll run like really fast for me fast. I was running. I was jogging. Give me a break.
Okay.
That's what coaches used to call interval training.
Well, that's the high-intensity interval training. And for me, the intensity may not be what it was 30 years ago, but it's still there. And, it just pumps you up. Couldn't get to sleep. Couldn't stay asleep.
Yeah, I got a lot of steps in yesterday.
Wrote a book, painted the deck, put on a new roof.
I can only imagine like one of your neighbors seeing you like randomly sprint out like in front of their house and then start walking and then sprint again.
No, it's great. And Simba, the wonder dog, the blind wonder dog. In fact, he was having a hard time keeping up with me, and it was getting real dark. So he normally goes by a little bit of very gross sight, like I'm sure his world is a blur. But when it gets dark, then it's all about sight, about sound and smell. So about every 20 paces, I need to remind him where I am and yell so he can stay up with me. He's such a great dog, Simba the wonder dog. I love him. It's fun to go running with tails wagging. He has no idea he's blind. He's a happy guy. He's not a victim of the universe. He's just a happy pooch taking a run.
We could all take notes from your dog.
I know.
I feel like your dog should have his own social media account.
Simba's great. I got to bring him in sometime. He's a great dog. But
that historically, for OG listeners, dogs in the studio has not gone well.
No, that's true.
Well, they tend not to behave themselves.
You would not like Simba because especially if you have to.
I don't like any dogs.
But especially if you have to go to court and you're all dressed up, because there's been times when I'm dressed for some kind of a nice affair. Simba is a mix of Labrador and German Shepherd and Pit Bull, but mostly Labrador, especially with the jowls. So he's not constantly, but it doesn't take much for him to drool.
Oh, gross.
All he needs to do is think about it. So he comes up and he wants to be your buddy. And the next thing you know, it looks like your pants were just in the washer.
Well, in fact, I do need to be in court today. So let's pick a day where we have no court appearances.
I won't bring him in. But, there's nothing going on in the Guthrie case. I mean, there's just nothing. They say they don't even have a person.
Doesn't sound good, does it?
And they're looking at septic tanks, and I don't know, it's
like the stats are like every minute matters. And what are we on, day 10?
So sad.
10, yeah.
Well, we're going to have some fun this morning. We're going to try to unpack the wacky world of Donald Trump's mind, which is unfathomable. And also, hopefully, I hope we get some good news on the small business front. I'm always on guard for small business. We want small business to prosper and do well. The Daily DC Rundown coming up with Stephanie in 5.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Time for the Daily DC Rundown with Stephanie Bell.
Is she the voice of AI? That really sounded very AI-esque. All right, so she was in the hot seat yesterday. She pled the fifth as expected before the House Oversight Committee. Her lawyer did claim that she has information that could exonerate both Trump and Clinton if she gets clemency, which she has been pushing for. So we also got the unredacted Epstein files apparently yesterday for members of Congress, but folks are still really big mad over that because apparently they did unredact some things. I guess Representative Raskin says the DOJ exposed victims' names that should have stayed redacted, and they concealed names of other people who spent time with Epstein to spare them embarrassment. And so but yeah, the first look at some of the some unredacted files. We also are hearing more about the government shutdown, and our own Eric Schmidt is pushing back. We're trying to go on the offensive. Of course, Democrats are demanding all sorts of reforms. Republicans are just saying, heck no. But Senators Lindsey Graham and Eric Schmidt are pushing votes this week to crack down on sanctuary cities, including proposals which would have prison sentences for migrants entering illegally. These votes aren't going to pass in the Senate, but they're an effort to try to say, hey, we're right on this issue, and to point the finger at the other side.
Did you see the latest goalpost moving that the Dems are doing?
I did not.
Yeah, they wanted body cams, but now they want no databases of any so-called people exercising their First Amendment rights.
Great.
So if I throw a water bottle at you and you're an ICE agent and you have a camera and I happen to know who you are, I can't tell anyone about that.
Nope.
What a joke. What
Awful.
a joke.
Well, without a deal, and again, the deadline's Friday, beyond DHS funding for FEMA and TSA is also at risk. We are
Coast Guard, too.
Yep. We are also hearing about all of the retirements as we march toward the midterms. Congressional retirements are hitting a 10-year high this election cycle. 30 House Republicans have already announced that they're not running for re-election. Total House retirements are at 51. That nearly matches 2018's record, which was 52. Senate retirements are already at 9. That's the highest in the decade. And folks are saying, this gridlock, all of this just brick wall type stuff is really frustrating people. And Senator Tom Tillis said last June, he was choosing grandkids over political theater and partisan gridlock. And yeah, it'd be hard to leave your family, for half the week, every week, or most weeks, when you're not really getting anything accomplished.
I actually heard Britt Hume last night talking about how he thinks they're underpaid. They're $150,000. Well, think about it. They're $147,000. Haven't had a raise in 10 years because it's always politically toxic. And you have to maintain a home there and one here. And it's not cheap to live in Washington, D.C. Well, maybe
you make the choice to get into public office.
Yeah.
All right. We are also hearing more about vehicle emissions, climate regulations. The Trump administration set to repeal the endangerment finding that could strike down Obama-era requirements for measuring, reporting, and complying with vehicle emission standards.
Oh.
So Lee Zeldin is calling it the largest act of deregulation in the history of the United States.
Go,
Let's go.
Lee. Go, Lee. That's a good thing. Love that. Hey, did you hear about the bar owner who was approached by someone who wasn't happy with the halftime show he was playing? We'll talk about that when we come back at 6:35. One bar owner stood his ground. Maybe he's the manager, but he was the dude in charge on Sunday evening when he decided he was going to play one and not the other halftime show. Here's how it unfolded.
I came here for the halftime show. The whole experience. Why aren't you playing Bad Bunny at the halftime show?
Because I put this halftime show on. Because this is what the majority. If you filming me, get that out of my face.
I'm filming you. Why are you doing that? Why don't you play Bad Bunny?
Because the majority.
I'm gonna pay.
Get out.
I'm gonna pay first.
Luke, this is why.
I gotta pay
first. This is
first.
why I said no.
I gotta pay first. But I'm asking a question. I'm not being violent.
I'll cash you out.
I gotta pay first.
Yeah,
I shouldn't pay.
What's your
because I
tab
came
under?
here for the full experience.
What's your tab under?
Which show to put
Super
on?
Bowl experience.
Okay, what's your tab under?
All right. I came here for the full Super Bowl experience.
It got heated, and I'm not going to play the rest of it because it gets a little heated. But the bar manager's sitting there at the bar, and he's just got his arms folded. He says they were playing, and you could see on all of the TVs, it was like a sports bar, you could see all of the TVs, they were playing the TPUSA. And this guy was hot. I mean, he was worked up. He was fired up. I came here to see the halftime show. I came here. He says, we're playing the halftime show. The guy's just like really cool as a cucumber. Yeah, that's what we're playing. What do you mean? We're playing the half. He was just baiting him. He's looking real confident. And
like you should know your bar, right? Like you should
Yeah.
like know where you're going. And like, I mean, when I went to a Super Bowl party, I knew exactly. There were no questions about what halftime show we would be watching, right? And I can tell you, like, I would visit a place that would do that, and I'm hopeful. I mean, again, I think like letting people pick their halftime show. Let's have 5 different halftime show. You know, I heard. Does anyone remember this? I heard yesterday that years ago there used to be a Simpsons halftime show. That when The Simpsons was really popular.
I don't remember.
I'm gonna have to look it up on YouTube. Drake is rolling his eyes, but people said it was really good, and so this isn't something new. Like there have been alternative halftime shows. Like I mean, it's like I don't know. It's like back when. Before they imposed the smoking bans on us. There are bars where you could smoke. There are bars where you couldn't smoke. And at that time, the business owners got to choose. And you know what? You got to vote with your dollars. And so, I don't know. It seems weird that you'd go someplace that you don't know what the
This is very interesting. I'm
is.
getting we have a text from Texas. Do you see this? 573-874-9390.
Is our one listener back from his international cruise?
There's
or
a
whatever?
lot of this.
You guys are making me jealous. With all
Apparently,
this
a
travel.
pro-Trumper. God is with Trump. That's why Satan and the Democrats want to stop him. There's a lot of very pro. And then it's, I pray for your soul. I pray for your soul. Oh, well, thank you. I don't know what that means. But did anyone let us know if you went to a party or maybe you were hanging out at a public, a bar or a restaurant and you having, watching it there. What were they playing? And did they play something that you didn't like? Were there people, you may know your bar, but you might not know your bar, right? I mean, the bar owner's going to play to, if it's a bar in downtown Columbia, or I would bet certain places in Springfield with colleges around, a lot of the college team probably wants to watch the Bugs Bunny show, right?
Well, throw it up on your own phone. Bring your AirPods. You can watch whatever you want.
Oh, no.
I mean, why not?
So, Drake, think about that. Could you see yourself or maybe one of your friends or people going and watching at a bar and being disappointed by which halftime show they're playing? No?
Not a chance.
No?
No. Okay. And I might sound like I'm beating a dead horse. It's a halftime show. For me and most of my generation that is like this, because Roger Goodell has me by the balls. He could play like just black
like Bad
screen,
Bunny.
and I would still watch football.
Okay.
And this has become such a big event that's kind of a staple of American like pop culture, the Super Bowl, and it's been around commercials and the halftime show. But I mean, I'd say the halftime show's the second most important for non-football watchers.
But also it speaks to just like the left, that they're so triggered they're going to go like accost the bar management. Like you're there, it's their bar, like who cares? I remember I was really excited to go to the Sphere in Las Vegas. And at the time they were only playing the one, like it's kind of like a nature movie or whatever. And the whole thing is beautiful. It feels like you're at Disney on Soarin'. You're like going by like castles and you're underwater and there's elephants and the breezes and it's haptic and like it's a cool experience until the end. And they basically go into this like liberal rant about how like humans are ending the world or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, did I like stomp my feet and go and how dare you put a political message in this, whatever? No, like I went for the experience and I'm smart enough that like I can ignore the garbage, right? Like and so the fact that I'm not going to go accost the management and be like,
true,
you didn't disclose that this was some political left-leaning whatever.
This whole thing has raised such an interesting controversy, an interesting conversation among people and between folks on different ways of thinking. And I think properly, people are pointing out, although I think there's maybe a difference in magnitude, a difference in degree of vulgarity. Alan says, mad about Bad Bunny being vulgar, but Trump gets a pass once again. Well,
Randy does not give Trump a pass for being vulgar.
I don't give him a pass at all. And I think if you look at some of the, so we say, condiments alongside the embellishment, the accompaniments upon Bugs Bunny's performance, there was just a lot. It was sort of orgiastic with clothes on. I'm sorry. I mean, there was gyrating and people, men behind women bent over. I mean, that was not the kind of stuff I'd want my young child to be watching. I got to tell you, it just isn't.
These kids nowadays with their new hip music, that's all I mean, all music nowadays is so dirty. I mean, Bugs Bunny is not any different.
No,
and this has been
not.
happening since the 90s, 70s even. I'd say rock is pretty dirty.
Which brings us to an interesting news story out in L.A. today. Google's going to be making its opening argument about this whole trial about, whether or not those places were responsible for and continually encouraging children to become addicted to social media. And some of the quotes that they have text, the prosecution, or I guess the other side, has text from the people saying this is not enjoyment, this is going to be addiction, something like that for the kids. I mean, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were up to. But then I thought about what you said the other day. So this is basically Meta, Google are being sued by a family that says, hey, my kid was ruined because they became addicted to your product, just as though you were a drug dealer, but you're a social media drug dealer. That's what's going on here. And Stephanie, you say, hey, be responsible, parents. And I got to thinking, aren't Saturday morning cartoons and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Transformers and whatever and cereal, Captain Crunch, isn't that designed to be addictive for kids?
Did you see the latest headline from Reason? I put it in our show prep just to trigger you, Randy.
You did that.
It says a Goldilocks effect for online teens.
I saw that.
Moderate social media users fare better than abstainers or heavy users. And couldn't we say that about like all vices or technology or, again, sugary cereal or anything?
I don't know about sugary cereal, but you can. I mean, in general, moderation is better than excess.
The old line, everything in moderation, including moderation.
They say both abstinence and excessive use can be problematic. And I find this with my kids. I mean, they had, I think I've told you, before we gave my oldest a phone, he wrote, he was supposed to be writing a Christmas list, and I expected the normal, long bulleted list of 20 things. Instead, I got a 1-page full-on essay about why it was important that he had a phone. And it wasn't so I can be on TikTok. It was because to socially interact with all my friends who have a phone. Now it's like he's messaging with the neighborhood gang like yesterday. Hey, we're meeting at so-and-so's house to go play basketball. Hey, do you want to go out and shovel snow and make some money today? Hey, what time is practice today? And so I do think there's some because everyone has a phone, there's some isolation. And I think, anyway, we can have this debate all day long and I will win.
Then again, it goes back to that question of what is the government's role to play in
parenting? None.
In public, in the protection of the people, right? and in public safety. Is this a public
they're
safety issue?
here to help me parent my own child.
But we as a society have agreed that a lot of parents don't take care of their children because we have to feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, provide them daycare. So I'm just saying,
what are you
parents
just
aren't.
saying?
Well, we as a culture have conceded that parents are not parenting enough because, after all, we're being taxed to pay for feeding other people's children at school.
So because we pay for...
Well, that means we're conceding that parents aren't being parents as they used to be.
But I remember whenever I made the NIL argument, when we can't enforce it, that why just like let all the floodgates open? I mean, we're subsidizing like children's food and all that. Does that mean that the government has a right to play a role in their, social media usage?
I feel strongly about that. I really actually think that the people that think you ought to regulate what people eat if you're going to pay for their health care, you ought to have a right in that. If I'm paying for the consequences of your behavior, I therefore earn the right to have some jurisdiction over your behavior, right? And that's common sense.
I kind of feel like people get what's coming to them. And
Social Darwinism on Wake Up Missouri.
I mean, if you want to eat crap and ruin your health and be fat and ruin your job
But Stephanie, there's this thing called Medicaid and there's this thing called Medicare. So you're okay with just wanting whatever you want to do?
Well, I also don't trust the government to do a good job. I mean, what we've been talking about is like they don't enforce our existing laws and they create these massive loopholes. So again, I don't think like
argument there.
Felons can't have guns. How many times has Hauswirth and John reported this latest shooting is by, well, the government says you can't have guns. The government says you can't have Oreos. So like we can throw down all these regulations and I don't think the government is the solution to our problems.
Well, then we should be able to gamble at the gas station.
No, we should not.
Oh, suddenly.
And that's not the government thing. That's not the government thing. If you know the history, and we will win on this issue. If you know the history of gaming, then from the very beginning of our state and the beginning of our nation, it was always illegal. And every time we've authorized something, it's been by a very limited vote of the people. So the people have voted to narrowly authorize gaming in certain ways. We voted for boats and moats. We voted for slot machines on boats. We voted for sports betting. The people have never voted for illegal gaming in slot machines. End of story.
Well, but you've just made the point that when the people vote to do something, then it's okay. Well,
the government's not telling us. We, the people, have taken that upon ourselves. It was done on the ballot. And we've done it narrowly.
Well, but what I'm arguing is philosophically the way policy should go. If you're arguing libertarianism on the one hand, but pragmatic, what's on the books on the other hand. Those are two separate arguments. Speaking of social media.
Change the subject.
Speaking of social media.
When you can't win.
No, I'm not going to change the subject because we're going to talk about how TikTok and Instagram Reels lead to poorer cognitive behavior. We will talk about that. Stay tuned.
It's Wake Up.
So to continue on our discussion about the trial out in L.A. and whether or not the government, well, it's a lawsuit. It's not. I don't think it's a government thing, is it? I think it's a private civil suit.
There's a couple of suits going on.
Yeah, and Google and Meta are under fire. I mean, if you've ever seen The Social Dilemma, it's a tough watch because you see all these former social media founders basically, saying, "Man, my kid doesn't touch the stuff because we engineered it to addict these kids and captured it in our claws." And
yes, believe everything you see on Netflix.
Well, I don't know. It's a documentary. Those are always true. Mm-hmm. And but you had these people coming out who were part of it and saying this is what it's about, and now that's what the trial's about. And so many families are saying there have been several suicides, some heralded or high profile, some not, with children who got involved in the social media thing. They had depression, whatever. They went off and sadly they killed themselves. So they've now done a systematic review because the data originally said lots of negativity. Then some data said, well, not quite as bad. And you talked about moderation is the key, right? You talked about that. Well, now they've done this large pooling of lots of data, looking at 98,000.
What was that saying? There are lies.
It's called a meta-analysis and a systematic review.
Can you help me out with that saying?
This is the science. Follow the science.
There are lies.
I am the science.
Darn lies and statistics.
They
and
looked at
science,
71
quote.
studies for the qualitative review, 70 for the meta-analysis, so like 100, almost 150, 141 studies. Total of almost 100,000 participants, 98,300. And some of this was in Asia, smaller proportion from North America and Europe, both youths and adults. And what they were looking at was the impact of these short videos, which you like showing us those during the breaks. A little giggling. Stephanie goes, "Hey, take a look at this little 10-second reel, 15-second reel." Don't tell me you don't do that, Miss Stephanie.
I love it.
I know.
I don't feel cognitively impaired. I think I've demonstrated that.
573-874-9390
that I have been winning. So.
Well, and that was back to the whole debate over, the saying, well, we're going to outlaw TikTok nationally unless it's no longer owned by a Chinese company. And the big phrase that came up time and time again was brain rot.
Yeah. Well, they looked at the impact of videos on cognition. So two big domains, cognition, attention, memory, executive functioning, language processing. The other one was depression, anxiety, stress, loneliness, sleep quality, body image, self-esteem. And it revealed a negative association between short-form video engagement and cognitive performance. So there. And a small but significant negative correlation about mental health. Greater engagement with short-term videos meant a decline in your healthiness because there was an increase in anxiety, depression, and stress. Who's the Bache? Isn't that Jonathan Bache? There's a guy that wrote a book on that talked about, and he analyzed really when you started to see a lot of the depression, anxiety that's been soaring among teens. Started around the time 2010 or 11 when the iPhone, when the like button came on. When you can do that. I think it was 10 or 11. So, again,
if you're getting your self-esteem from the like button, I think there are probably underlying issues that we might have had trouble with regardless of social media.
Not everyone is as self-controlling and self-regulating and cognitively beautiful and absolutely on target with every aspect of their life as Stephanie. That's the question here.
Lies, damn lies, and statistics.
There you
Chris
go,
Hart's
John.
coming up.
Mark Twain.
racist president you've had in a long time.
President Trump's controversial late-night video post on Thursday was about alleged voter fraud and just over a minute long.
I liked the beginning. I saw it and just passed it on. And I guess probably nobody reviewed the end of it because what I saw at the beginning was really, really strong.
But the end.
Well, and of course, the controversy over whether Donald Trump knew what he was posting, when he found out he didn't know what he was posting, was it an intern, is still raging, and will it have any legs or not? Well, we're going to talk with Chris Arps about that because he had some opinions, some pretty strong ones on his Facebook page. He's, of course, the co-host of the Jones and Arp Show and Newsmax commentator and panelist and political analyst extraordinaire. Chris, welcome in. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, Randy. What do you think is going to kill us first, social media or AI?
Both of the above.
Chris, come on.
Oh man, this is crazy. I mean, this is at a minimum, this was a self-inflicted wound. Now, whether it was a dagger to the heart or whether it was just a little scrape, a little broken little toe, we don't know. But as a black man who's a conservative and a staunch man of faith and a pro-Trump agenda guy, I think you said you're not MAGA, but you're pro. How do you process this?
Look, first of all, I'm going to say this. I don't think that President Trump is a racist. I don't think he did this intentionally to be a racist. I don't think he even watched the entire video. I think he watched some of it and didn't watch it to the end. I do believe he posted it. I don't believe the story that an aide posted it at all. Only Donald Trump is up at 1 o'clock in the morning tweeting. But I tell you, I was very offended by the post with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, the first African American president, first lady, depicted as monkeys. I was very disappointed in that. But I got to tell you, I was equally disappointed in the response from some conservative MAGA people and from some conservative MAGA black people.
Explain.
We were hearing excuses where people were saying, well, have you watched the entire video? The entire video, there's other people that are depicted as monkeys. Yeah, that's great, but President Trump didn't post the entire video, or the entire video wasn't on the vote video that he posted. It was the only portion that was there was the portion with the African with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama depicted as monkeys. So trying to use the excuse about there's a whole video and it's taken out of context means absolutely zero. And I spent the entire weekend trying to explain that to people, and it didn't seem to sink in. And then you had African Americans that were defending the video and using those same excuses. And that's what was really disappointing. Look, I'm as Republican as they come. I will compare my conservative bona fides with anybody, but I have a line that I will not cross, and that is I'm not going to support something that is overtly racist because Donald Trump did it or I'm a conservative. I draw that line. And I think a lot of black conservatives, we get called Uncle Toms, we get called coons, sellouts, Uncle Russes. And I think a lot of people are African-American conservatives are hurt by that. But they also have a strong mindset where, I don't care what you think. This is what I believe. You can go to hell. And I think a lot of these black conservatives take the stance of supporting things that are overly racist because, one, I think they look at it as sticking into the eye of other black conservatives. They're like, look, I am so against what you believe and I'm not with you that I'll even support something that's overtly racist to show you that I'm not on the Democratic plantation. And I think you see a lot of that with some of these black conservatives. I'm telling you, I was more disappointed from the responses that I was getting from black conservatives supporting this than I was with President Trump's post. I have to tell you that.
Interesting, because I think after seeing this, I worried a lot about more like black independence. What we know is, I think especially amongst younger black individuals, they showed up for Trump bigly in the last election. And, I think this, among some other things, could put them back on the fence. I mean, is that what you think?
I don't know. I mean, it could, but, I have pretty much a cross-section of black conservatives that are my age, that are younger. And, there were some that took the view that I did, that this was horrible and the president should apologize and this should be taken down. But the overwhelming view of it was, hey, I'm with Trump no matter what. You didn't see the whole video. This is something that the media wants to divide us on. So I think the younger black people that you have that are true Trump supporters, I think they are MAGA. I think they are with him no matter what. This may turn off the people of my generation and maybe the generation under me, but I don't think it turns off the black MAGA voters.
I actually, when you look at the Lion King part of it, which actually starts with that Obama picture, it's actually an interesting and entertaining and sort of a fun AI exposition, right? If you just forget about that part of it, and you can recognize creativity or the funniness of something, but you need to also recognize, on the other hand, the personal affront it is in the history of what those kind of images mean with the eugenics movement and with everything going back, across some of the dark parts of this country, right? The dark side of our country.
I don't think it's a coincidence that in that video that parodied all of these Democrats as other animals, that Michelle and Barack Obama were portrayed as monkeys. Why couldn't Michelle Obama be a giraffe?
Right.
Why couldn't Barack Obama be a hedgehog? Why do they have to be monkeys?
Yeah.
And I think that is deliberate.
Yep. No, I think you're right, and it's well, I imagine in the future Trump will be a little more careful about that. Now, on another.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on. Are you going to hold your breath on that one?
No. And you know what? I keep saying this, and people are like, "Oh, Randy, quit your whining. What are you guys talking about? Get over it. That's Trump." You know what? We all know that's Trump. We still need to call it out for a flaw, a serious character, personality flaw he has. And I want Trump's agenda to be successful. This is constructive criticism. But it's funny how you can really take it on the chin from other conservatives who are like, oh, get off of it. What are you doing? You're tearing down our guy. I'm not tearing him down. I want him to succeed. And politically, it's not helpful from the middle, like Stephanie said, and I think we all admit that's not going to help. A lot of these independents that can go either way in a given election, I think they're going to be they're going to bristle at that.
Well, Senator Tim Scott, the only black conservative Republican in the Senate, he called Donald Trump out early on this, said this is the most racist thing he's ever seen out of this White House. And then you've had fellow black conservatives calling him a traitor to Donald Trump because he said those comments. Laura Loomer, the big presidential supporter, she tweeted out, called him a traitor. So, you cannot disagree with Donald Trump publicly. If you're not with him 1,000%, support everything that he does, even though it's controversial, and you're a traitor.
And doesn't that give fuel to the fascist fire and the cult worship accusations that go on from the left and the PBS and the NPR and the legacy media? I mean, we got to think that through.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I have to ask your opinion about the Bugs Bunny halftime show. Did you watch that? Did you watch TPUSA? Did you sample both? What did Chris Arps and his beautiful wife Becky do?
Look, I watched enough of the Bad Bunny halftime show to know that I didn't want to continue watching it. And the only reason I was watching it is because my wife was trying to find the TPUSA show on YouTube TV. And so while that was on, I had the halftime show on my phone. Yeah. So we watched the TPUSA, and I got conflict on there because I told people, I said on my Facebook page that I think having Bad Bunny as the halftime show performer was a middle finger to America. And, of course, the left takes that as racist, that I don't like him because he's Hispanic or because he is Puerto Rican. And I had to clarify. I said it had nothing to do with his ethnicity. I could care what it is. I don't support and I don't like Bad Bunny because of his position on ICE and ICE enforcement. Here's a guy that is basically, because he's saying ICE out and villainizing ICE officers, it is basically saying that I want child sex traffickers, murderers, gangbangers, illegal aliens in this country to be here and to be protected by sanctuary cities. That's what his statement says to me when he says ICE out. Has nothing to do with his ethnicity, has nothing to do with his music. It's his stance on ICE, and I wasn't going to watch that and support him.
I didn't watch it either. Well, I think we started this interview with you asking Randy what's going to kill us for social media or AI. But some folks are doubling down on social media, and one of those people is Kamala. She has come out. She got like a new makeover of her socials. She's calling it headquarters, and apparently it's designed to try to reach Gen Z. She's upping her social following and kind of, I think, pushing back against, Trump had all of the influencers and all the conservative podcasts. You do a lot of campaign consulting. Is this a good move for Kamala as she heads into potentially another presidential run?
Well, yeah, she needs to rehabilitate her image, definitely. I mean, she's going to need the younger people to go for her in these primaries if she hopes to prevail. But I'm not solely convinced that Kamala is going to run for president again. Maybe she needs her profile heightened. Maybe she's trying to up her book sales. I don't know. But I don't know how anyone in good conscience who in the 2020 campaign dropped out, didn't even make it to the first primary, and then you get drubbed by President Trump in 2024, how you could think that you have a chance in the 2028 election. I have no idea. So strange what she's doing to me, because you would think that advisors and people around her would tell her, like Kamala, go get you a job on MSNBC, write some more books, do some lecturing at Berkeley, but your political career is over.
Okay.
Chris, we think back to the days of Barack Obama's president, and he joked at the time, they took my BlackBerry away from me, and now I can't do any social media. Is it time for somebody to take the smartphone away from the president?
Well, I think that anybody that would suggest that probably wouldn't have a job too long in the White House. President Trump, and you have to admit, in 2016, he used social media brilliantly. That's how he feels that he gets his message across past the liberal media gatekeepers. So I think he would argue that this is how I get my message across. I'm going to say some things that offend people, but this is what I do. This has been too effective for me not to use.
Thanks for your powerful commentary, and I know you've been taking some hits from your own people, incoming from your own side, but you keep up the strong work, Chris Arps. We love you. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, guys. Great talking to you.
Likewise. Good to have you. Hey, I'm checking the iTunes top songs charts. We'll monitor that and let you know in the wars of the halftime hits who is winning when we come back.
It's Wake
Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri at 8:08. We're going to talk with Brad Jones, the Missouri director of the National Federation of Independent Business, and get the latest business optimism report. Several components therein about the optimism index, and a little bit about the labor situation, and how investments are going, what they think is going to happen, whether they're going to raise prices, and there's always different subcategories we'll talk about. It's interesting. I've been checking the charts here. I do that all day long, following the charts. Not really. But on the iTunes charts, as of 7/20, number one position, Kid Rock, Till You Can't. Number two, Bad Bunny, DTMF. I have no clue what that means, but I hope we're not going to get in FCC trouble for merely saying the name of it. Cody Johnson, Till You Can't. Whoa.
That was the original.
That's the original. Yeah, Kid Rock was a cover. Then it's Bad Bunny. I don't know. Titi Mi Pregunto? Tom McDonald, Pray for the Left. Gabby Barrett, The Good Ones. That was on the TPUSA show.
Such a good song.
So, but Bunny is 2, 4, 7. Now, if you go on the other hand, if you go to... it's interesting. It depends which list you're looking at. If you go to Apple Music, it looks like DTMF is number one. I don't see any of the tunes. He's all the way down to number 6, the top 6. And then this guy, J. Cole, comes up a lot. Who's J. Cole?
Here was my response at the Super Bowl, or I think maybe to y'all, about how Bad Bunny is so popular. Because he's very popular amongst the left and the younger people who don't work, who just stream music all day long. Us working folks can't stream those songs over and over and over and over.
Well, okay, Stephanie, I do have a radio playing with Apple Music, the same song over and over again, so I can be in the 1% of listeners. So whenever the recap thing comes out, I can post it on my story. And
this data, for me, is like the data you presented earlier. Again, John, there's
Bunny.
Lies, damn lies, and these weirdo charts.
Bugs Bunny is just, he's dominating across the stream. I mean, whether he's 1 or 2 or top 6.
Because all of these people are probably sitting in their mom's basement, putting it on the Bad Bunny channel and streaming it all day long so they can, talk about these charts. The rest of us are working.
Thanks for sticking with us, all you 25 and younger folks. Yeah, well, it's an interesting deal. And I wonder if the people that are streaming this that had really not heard of him much, but just like the vibe, they like the people gyrating around and all the the production and people as grass, real grass people.
Oh, I already saw someone put that on Twitter as a Spirit Halloween costume.
I wonder if people knew if they knew what the lyrics were, the foul, profane, vulgar lyrics, if they would change their opinion, or if they just say, whatever. Whatever.
They got all the exposure in the big halftime show, and I think it's expected that it probably dominate iTunes chart, at least for the week.
Yeah. We had this guy, what's his name? Lamar Hedrick? What? Kendrick? Who?
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar last year.
Not great.
What a woefully sad. And then this year, it was entertaining, but it was just so vulgar, and you couldn't understand a darn thing.
Well, you didn't know it was vulgar at the time.
No, I'm finding that out now. Can we please just have an all-American one next year? That'd be nice.
Don't hold your breath.
Be back with more. Recall that last week we had a couple of community citizens who were part of a group who had tried to preserve what they felt was the wishes of a 100 and some odd acre farm whose owner had died, and his intent was to make it into a park in Cole County. There was a court case Friday, and we didn't give you the follow-up on that, so it's time we do that. John, what happened?
Yeah, this was the Lawrence Wren Farm in the Elston area, just west of Cole County. And the longtime owner, Lawrence Wren Jr., longtime cattle farmer here in mid-Missouri, decided in his will he wanted to donate the almost 180 acres to the county of Cole to be made into a public park. And the trust included, the way we understood it, several $1 million in upkeep. And it was a contention of the neighbors there that they wanted to see it happen, but early on the county leadership, the county commissioners, did not sign off on it, and the bank said, okay, we'll auction it off to the highest bidder, and that is basically what happened on Saturday after the citizens group went to a judge trying to stop it and was unsuccessful, and the farm, 178 acres, sold off for $2.2 million.
That's $12,588 an acre. It went to 5 buyers. Apparently there were 6 tracts. One buyer bought 2. I thought about showing up because last week Drake agreed that if I buy a farm, he'll take care of all my animals.
But you don't like animals.
I like farm animals. You know.
What was the issue before the judge, and who was the judge?
The issue was in Cole County, and the issue was
Judge Shetler.
Okay.
In Associate Circuit Court.
Yeah.
And they were trying to block the sale of it and hold it over to review and maybe get the attorney general involved. But the judge ruled, Steph, that they had no standing.
Yep.
So it was an issue of standing, not the material matter of the case.
I believe that's right.
So
I have not looked at all the court pleadings.
What is the lesson for people who have an estate and they have an intent for it? I mean, is that, I know, hire a lawyer.
Get a lawyer.
Yeah.
But he had a will, so he apparently had a lawyer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think,
and there was a trust.
I think you see more and more people, rather than waiting till the end of their life, doing that while they're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because I think many people have experienced that. In that, the kids fight over the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You thought you had it clear, you didn't. Your wishes aren't carried out, and so I think a lot of people are saying, no, I want some say. And so you see them toward the end of their life starting to do these things while they're still alive, so they have some control.
I know there was some concern from the folks we had in. We had Chuck Steck and Gary Bimboom, both from rural Cole County, and there were some concerns there. Was somebody going to come in here and subdivide it and put up, multi-family housing or apartments or something like that? And in defense of that, the 2 biggest tracts of land, the 75 acres, were bought by, I'll drop his name, Jared Hotzenpiller, who is one of the family that runs our good friends and advertiser, Steve Pest Control, and known Jared since he was a little guy, and he said, yeah, we always talked about getting sort of a little family farm, hobby farm out in the county, and he and his wife, and I think they've got 3 kids already, so moving in the right direction, at least in that regard.
So who got the money? A couple of texters asked the big question. Who got the money?
It's a charitable trust, so all of the money goes into a charitable trust at Hawthorne Bank and can only be used for charitable donations.
So who determines where the charitable money goes to?
The trustees.
And who are the trustees?
Whoever he named as the trustees. And I think Hawthorne Bank's on the list. Well, I think they're administering the trust.
Yes.
I mean, usually there's like a committee of people.
Huh.
Mine has like a few people on it, right? And my money goes into the trust for the kids, and then they get to vote. And so
Drake's putting his hand up. He'd like to be the recipient of, maybe pay off some school loans. You could be the beneficiary of the charitable trust.
No, thank you.
Well, that was quickly shut down, Stephanie. Come on. Can I get the farm?
I am not an estates and trust attorney. I used a local attorney when setting mine up. But I think it's really important that, and they ask, it's a weird experience. I'll say that. They ask a lot of questions you never thought you'd even need to ask yourself.
when the laws change, then you have to go and spend a whole buttload of money to get it all revised again. Yeah.
I don't know on that but I mean,
I've been through that game.
Okay. But I also think like when your circumstances change, right? Like at the time I did it, I think it mattered because if you're young and you both die and you have kids, one reason to go through estate planning is the question is who gets your kids, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a control freak, so I wanted control over that decision.
No.
I didn't want to leave it to the government.
Would you please loop that? Put that as a hot button. No, well, but
and so and at the time they're like, well, do you want the kids to have the giant pot of money, at 22 or at 30?
We did that,
and I thought, what giant pot of money right now? But so then, early in life, I think it's more about kids and structure and your house and that kind of thing. And then later in life, it can be about charitable donations or like money, things. And so should I probably, as I gain more wealth and my kids get older, probably go back in and take another look at it and decide and make some different choices, perhaps.
Yeah. We did that. I mean, we weren't flowing black ink until in our mid 30s, right? And even later than that, because practice is different back then.
You can't die with it.
So
I plan to spend it, right? Like I don't plan to get a dime from anybody in any inheritance, and I don't think my kids should count on that.
Now,
right?
as far as the kids and who gets the kids, it depends on what age they are. If they're 14 or 15, who wants the kids?
Right.
When they're in middle school, you take them. I don't want them.
Right. But you've all seen, what's that movie like Stepmom, where like the gal with no kids gets
Just
kids
kidding.
and it like completely uproots her life. And for me, like consistency is important, right? So it matters like where people live. I don't want to die and make my kids, my sister lives in Tennessee, right? Like, so that I don't want to make them change schools. They have experienced something horrific. These are hard conversations, right? Like talking through all of the parade of horribles. And then you get into some really weird questions. I remember one of the questions was like, does the second wife get a yacht or whatever? And I was like, what are you talking about? Because then you have to also talk about like if you're married and one of you dies, then like should the money be limited to the kids, or can the husband get remarried and spend all your money on the new wife? And I was like, I don't care if you get remarried, but I really don't want her to have my money.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to spend it before you die.
I'm trying.
Yeah, there you go. It's kind of academic.
I'm trying, but so there are just all these scenarios, right? And then you have to have a good accounting of all of your various accounts, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so many people, you've got investments, maybe you've got some stuff for your kids, and you want it to all flow through there into the same place. The attorneys who do this are very talented and very detail oriented, and I'm thankful for them.
So
I know from talking to the citizens group about this, the Wren farm in Cole County, that they were disappointed, and basically their take on it was that they didn't think the last wishes of Lawrence Wren Jr. and his wife were carried out by the trustees or the trust itself, and the judge saw it differently, and off it went.
And that's tough. These are, especially, it sounds like that land's been in the family for a long time and that they had pretty specific wishes. I haven't, seen the trust documents or anything else, but I think it's a reminder for those of us who have one that needs to be revised, or who don't have one and have something like a farm or excess cash or a favorite charity.
You don't want to go to probate.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is a lesson that whoever's listening and has those concerns should be well served to consider. That you want to try to get things as wrapped up and as tightly defined as you can ahead of time.
And I think have those tough conversations, right? Like with people in your life. If you know that your parents are aging and they don't have their wishes spelled out, like that's a tough conversation to say, hey, look, like, and I mean, I've had that conversation, like, don't put this on me. Like, I don't really want any of your things. I don't really care at that point, but like, you should spell it out for us. Right. And no one really wants to talk about that stuff. These are tough conversations, but they're important ones. 'Cause I think we've all seen it play out in a way that, is unhelpful and can really cause some rifts.
I only have 2 TIAC reel-to-reel tape recorders from the 70s. And the kids, there's 3 kids, and they've said, Dad, please assign those to one of us because we don't want to be fighting over them. I mean,
Oh,
And
my
don't forget that
goodness.
quadraphonic receiver. Oh, don't forget that either.
And this is another lesson. And I think
Yeah.
especially people in your generation, Randy, my parents included, we've had this tough conversation of some of this stuff you need to decide right now what's worth keeping, because it's unfair to me as the adult child to have to go through all the crap that you've hoarded for many, many years. And my parents, they moved, they downsized, they did a good job of because I'm your parents die and you're left looking at this. What was it? And you're
TIAC reel-to-reel tape recorder. It's a standard of the industry.
Is this really important? And I need to keep it or not?
No,
that's just, I don't want to have to do that. Tell me what's important.
I've got precious archived tapes of reel-to-reel tapes of us in recording sessions and stuff. And they can only be played on a reel-to-reel tape recorder.
So are they going to build a Randy Tobler museum and archive them there?
I have to take the time to digitize those sometime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, what do you have coming up? By the way, a lot of you on the text line, 573-874-9390, are hammering the bank and the commissioners. There's just a lot of that going on. But, I guess the law is the law, and, the trust. And, again, lessons learned. Intents don't follow through unless the legalistics of it all do. John, what do you have?
Wait, my taco has a tail.
Oh.
Corn or flour when we come back?
It's Wake Up Missouri.
Except for this.
When Florida experiences unusually cold weather, the iguanas freeze up and fall from the trees, and this Florida man is giving social media something to taco about. I'm just reading it off the page. TikTok creator Gray Davis, no, not the California governor, has gone viral with a series of videos documenting the raining iguanas phenomenon in Florida. When they get cold weather, the iguana popsicles fall from their perch onto the ground. Well, they may look dead. They're technically alive and will thaw out when the weather warms up. So, Mr. Davis says they do have the nickname Chicken of the Trees, and they're absolutely delicious. So rather than let this one go to waste, we're going to make tacos. He boiled the iguana meat with garlic, onion, a bay leaf, and some salt. He soft-boiled the included iguana eggs to blend with avocado, garlic cloves, and olive oil to make a sauce, and said, now that right there is a Florida man taco, and if you can't beat them, eat them.
Eat them. So you mentioned iguana eggs. That's a different kind of caviar, huh?
Oh, that's ugh. And these are like big things. I would be like walking around like looking in the trees. I mean, if you got hit by a falling frozen iguana.
Some of them are pretty big.
Yeah.
Does an iguana die if does it thaw out?
I think it thaws
The weather
out.
warms up, they thaw
Yeah, I mean,
out,
they're just in a hibernating state.
Apparently, some of them are invasive, and I saw this because it got real cold, back when we had that storm in Florida. And apparently, typically, you have to have a permit to take the iguana. But Florida, they did a executive order, and there were 2 days, February 1st and 2nd, where they allowed you to capture these cold-stunned iguanas without a permit. And they said 5,195 cold-stunned iguanas were collected and brought to the Fish and Wildlife Commission.
5,000 something?
Yeah. Ugh.
What does
Yum.
iguana taste like? Chicken?
That's what they said.
Huh.
I'll pass.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ate rattlesnake and scouts once, and it was awful.
Yeah.
You can get alligator bites in Colombia, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had snake. I've had some rattlesnake. It wasn't bad.
Is that the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
It's really good. I had grasshopper, puree or
that
something.
Sounds like a TV show.
Wild game show, yeah. Or game dinner, yeah.
I had pigeon once. It was good, actually.
What
I
was it?
sampled raccoon
Pigeon.
one time, and it was horrible.
Ooh.
Oh,
that sounds gamey.
And that sounds like a disease waiting to happen.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that explains a lot, actually. John.
It does, doesn't it?
It does go to your brain.
Drake, do you eat birds?
Do I like chicken? Yeah. But I don't do any exotic stuff. I've had alligator before. It's
really?
It's really good.
Yeah,
I
it
love
tastes like?
alligator.
It can be a little bit dry, though. You have to be careful about it. It's very lean.
Well, mine was deep fried, and it'll stop my
fry
heart.
a popsicle stick and it tastes good, right? I mean, frying is the key.
I'm sure iguana is similar.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
I think the egg part is a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah, this is how I feel about escargot. You can dunk anything in that like hot garlic butter, and I'd eat it probably.
You don't
even garden snails.
Yep.
Doug says there's a food truck that does the alligator bites and
Yum.
gumbo with alligator, the Cajun catfish. I don't know. Are they a Springfield deal or a Columbia deal?
No, Randy, you and I had that one day when we were doing
we had it down
couple
there
years ago
at
when we were
Buckeyes.
doing the
when we were doing the
food drive.
That's right. Yeah. How come we didn't get alligator?
I don't know. We should have.
Wow. Okay. I'm not going to go to Aaron's text. I'll get in trouble for that.
We are trying to keep up with the text line this morning, folks, but you're really fired up. And
573
we are
874
responding as fast as we can.
9390. There's something that
I'll take that audio file stuff from you any day.
Yeah, we got someone that's interested in my audio file stuff. See, so I'm not that weird that I've got old audio file stuff.
Do you know this word? This word got used by my 8th grader to me yesterday.
Yes.
Anthropomorphic.
Yes, anthropomorphism. That is applying a human trait to something non-human.
Yes, we were talking about what we were reading in English or whatever, and we are reading apparently Call of the Wild. And we were talking about the story, but it was important clarification that it was not anthropomorphic. And I was like, excuse me?
Well, Trump's video about the Lion King was anthropomorphic.
Hey.
There you go. Trump was only educating us. That's what it was. Oh, now it makes sense.
Not so much.
Not. Let's see how the small biz world is doing when we talk with Brad Jones from the National Federation of Independent Business. Stay tuned. to the third hour of this warm and wonderful Tuesday morning. Brad Jones from the National Federation of Independent Business. He's the Missouri director, you know. We pulled him away from his constant looping and reveling in and reviewing and just going giddy over the Bad Bunny halftime performance just long enough to spend a little time with us this morning. Welcome in, Brad.
I had to pull myself away.
Now, we know we can't count on the federal government for much of anything, and due to this minor government shutdown, all of our economic data has been delayed. We're expecting those reports out later this week. So you're really our first look at like the latest economic data. What's your new report?
Wow.
What's your report telling us?
It is that is some pressure that I didn't realize I had this morning. But well, you know, I was kind of interested. Actually, I was very interested in the economists, Randy and Steph, that you had on yesterday, and I think it's really kind of interesting with the Small Business Economic Trends Survey for January, because everybody kind of looks at this one on January and says, wonder where we're going. You know, I wonder how 26 is going to be, and is January going to be some kind of an indication? Because what he talked about yesterday, I think he was spot on. I mean, if you look at unemployment is down, which is a good thing. The GNP, I think, it's over 4, which is pretty strong. And then, you know, inflation, which has certainly been the hobgoblin of small business in the last 3 or 4 years, is under, I think we're under 2%. So, I mean, all of those kind of things kind of point at an economy that should be really rocking and rolling. The issue is what part of the economy is it that's rocking and rolling? Because in the small business sector, maybe it hasn't caught up yet. Because at least from the standpoint of small business owners, they're still pretty uncertain. They're really kind of feeling their way into this new year as to what it is we're going to be doing. And that was indicated in this January report. It was down, but only like 0.2, which is almost a wash from the last couple of months. There's 10 indicators in this thing. 3 of them were up, but 7 of them were down. Wow. And they weren't down a lot. They ticked down just a little bit. So what does it mean? You know, they give us all these stats, but they don't really analyze what it is that you think may be the reasoning for it. And so, you know, one of the things that we have seen consistently now for over the last year is the job market. And the job market has definitely not been something in the small business world that has been a positive. It has been still very difficult for small business people to hire the folks that they need. We got 31% that had jobs that they couldn't fill, and that was down to, which is good. But when you look at, you know, my analysis over the last 6 to 8 months, it's been bouncing between 31 and 38%. It has not broken through where all of a sudden 1 month we're down to 25%. The 30-year average, by the way, on jobs you couldn't fill is 22. And we haven't been down there since COVID, before COVID. So that's a little bit of a problem. The good news is this is kind of the way this report works. You got the good and you got the bad, and they kind of bounce between each other. Capital outlays that we talked about last month. That's the money that businesses spend on themselves, where they buy a new delivery vehicle, or they buy more inventory, or what have you. Actually, in the last 6 months, that was up 4 points, which is good, because when you're spending money on yourself, on your business, it means that you're somewhat confident in what's going to happen coming up in the future. But this particular January one has it down 2 points. So it's kind of like, well, I know we have been expanding our business and we've been doing the things that we need to do, but are we going to continue to do that for the next 6 months? And the other one that I think is kind of important is the selling price. And with the inflation that we've had over the last several months, years, I should say, 26% reported raising selling prices, which is down 4 points in the last 6 months. On the other hand, the selling price might still be looking at going up a little bit in the next 6 months. So it's and that one is one of the key indicators on inflation. So that's good. I mean, if that thing is going down, if your selling price has leveled off or maybe even come down just a little bit, this is a good thing overall for the economy, as far as maybe putting a little bit of a wet blanket on the fired up inflation that we've had really in the last 3 years.
That's Brad Jones, Missouri director of the NFIB. That's the National Federation of Independent Business. He joins us on Wake Up Missouri with the latest Business Optimism Index report.
Brad, your small business people are probably unique as compared to big corporations and all, that they take a real hard look at the household credit and household debt and all that, how they're doing personally at their house plays right into how healthy their business is and money they have to put back into it.
Well, that is an excellent segue, Mr. Marsh, because one of the things that we ask about are, what are your biggest problems? What are the things that are your biggest problems with running your business? And needless to say, we've seen over the last couple of years, the situation with inflation being up and being way up. That was number one on the hit parade for a while. When we had the disruption of being able to get products, that was a big one. Now we've got another one that's kind of inching up in there. And I think if you're talking about your own home and you're looking at your own bills, insurance costs have kind of crept up into the conversation. And I don't think I need to tell you all that when you've looked at your premiums for your cars and your houses, I don't think they've gone down. So that was one thing that kind of stuck out in this particular
Brad
survey. Also,
talking about insurance, a lot of folks, of course, in the healthcare realm, tell me that if you're a small business person, you want to provide some health benefits. It's very difficult to compete because of the realities of group insurance and the economy of scale and of volume to get the same kind of pricing on health insurance that the big boys can get. Of those insurance difficulties and challenges, how much is casualty insurance, liability insurance, and how much is a health insurance problem?
Huge. Every 4 years, we do the big problems and priorities survey, and we list 100 things, 100 issues out there, and it is a very extensive survey that we do. It's the reason why we only do it every 4 years. But let's see. I've been doing this for a really long time. It's number one. Yeah. Health insurance costs has been number one. Not only number one, but number one by a lot for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, Randy. When small business people go in to buy health insurance, it's like going in and buying your suit off the rack.
Yeah.
This is what it costs. You're not going to sit here and haggle with me. Here's your number. Like it, don't like it, go shop it if that's what you want to do.
It is tough.
And but I agree that health insurance costs and some of the things that lead to that, those increases are still out there, and they are definitely a pressure.
Yeah, it's not going down anytime soon. I noticed in the jobs thing, we only have a minute or so left here, but in the job market and the labor category, I noticed that the business was the statement was in this bullet point list I'm looking at, 16% of small business owners cited labor quality as their single most important problem. At first I read that as quantity, like labor availability, but I'm hearing quality. You want to unpack that a little bit or not?
Yeah, sure. So we had about 50% of our members last month, and this has been consistent, that have tried to hire. 88% of them said they could not find the person that they needed, or they were not qualified for the job that they were looking for. So that speaks to the quality problem. Okay. And if you're looking at that, the bigger problem really is with the trades. So if you're looking at construction, transportation, some of those more specialized, that 31% that we have jobs that couldn't fill has always been much higher when you're looking at the trades.
Well, the reason I asked that, Brad, was because I hear a lot of people say, I can't get someone that's capable of doing the electrician work or the plumbing work or the technical work. But I also hear that there seems to be some generational differences in terms of job commitment, customer service, communications. I'm talking about on-the-job delivery of the goods to the customer, just in terms of that aspect of quality.
No question. There's no question about it. And you look at when you look at the turnover that is out there, and let's face it, if you've got a job market that is really tight, you don't like what you're doing, you don't like what you're making, you don't like where you're working, you've got a better than average chance of going, especially if you're a tradesperson. You've got a better than average chance of going out and finding something else somewhere else.
Sounds like.
And what does an employer have to do to keep those people? They have to pay them more.
Sounds
and
like
they do.
Yeah,
and that's why we've got inflation the way it's been the last couple of years.
And that means tightening margins. So, okay. Well, hey, there's a lot to unpack in here. You can learn more about it at nfib.com/Missouri, and you can get it there. Brad,
it is.
Love the analysis. Thanks for updating us. Talk to you next time.
Okay, but thank you, guys.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Market report coming up. Stay tuned.
It's
Well, of course, the market stayed in 50,000 plus territory on the Dow Jones yesterday. All of the major indexes were up. And today, things are a little flat on the futures market with everything pretty much right about where we ended up yesterday, about 50,225 at the Dow, S&P at almost 7,000. NASDAQ was up a bunch yesterday, and it's at 25,000 plus. Oil continues to rise, so I guess we'll all be driving to Boonville to get some of that cheaper gas as it goes up and up and up, right? Well, I remember, John, when it was just, 58, 59 just a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah. Well, I saw 249 coming in this morning, but that could be subject to change, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I know the diesel's been going up to put in my big A truck. So we'll see where the markets go. Now, this is all interesting because I'm surprised the futures haven't been down a little bit. Report out that there was a disappointing holiday season. December retail sales were flat and fell very short, fell short. So sales rose about 2.4%, and that failed to keep up with inflation as the CPI for December was at a 2.7%. So things were a little flat following a little increase in November, and I think it's there's some storm clouds out here that are interesting, and we'll have a story on the reverse recruiting market after Drake tells us about what's going on. Target is changing things up.
Yes. So I'm a big Target guy. I like Target.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite. You know, I like it way better than Walmart. But their new CEO.
What's the name of that checkout gal that you always?
No comment.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
Sorry.
Well, they are investing more into stores and cutting 500 jobs.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Indeed. But I mean,
white collar jobs. Probably.
Yeah. A lot of the administration stuff, which honestly, thank God. I'm tired of these guys. Have you been in a Target anytime recently?
We stopped around holiday time to buy something. I don't know.
Okay, so I swear there is always like 3 people at least on the floor standing and not doing a single thing, like watching other people like stock shelves and do all of that. There's at least 3, and I don't know how they've stayed afloat with like doing that, and they always have like the little Starbucks on the side, and they have a security person over there. Not an actual security person, like the store administrator. I just don't understand it. I think this is a good move from Target, trying to invest more into the stores, making them more high-end Walmart, essentially. That's what I see Walmart or Target as.
So you want to see more people there on the floor helping you, right? And be there to maybe keep the shelves stocked, keep things organized.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little partial because the reason I go to Target is because of their Lego selection. They have an amazing Lego selection. Anytime you go, they have like 2-3 aisles of just great Lego stuff.
I'll have to set that as a destination on my
there you go
on my Google Maps, by golly.
But if I can't find something, there's no one around. And whenever you ask one of those administrator people, it's crazy. They never know where anything's at.
Now, Drake, do you find it interesting that you make fun of my talk about some of the things I love, like rock tumbling and beekeeping and old reel-to-reel tape, and you're into Legos? I mean, we all have our unique and varied interests.
When have I made fun of you for that?
Oh, I see you over there. You and Stephanie gang up on me.
No. What did I get you for Christmas, Randy?
Yeah.
What did I
that's
get?
True.
I support your
and my
hobbies.
Stamp collecting, and that was a big one. Yeah. When we come back, do Olympians have the right, especially American Olympians, to trash this country when they're over there in Milan? We'll ask it when we come back.
States when, I'm pretty sure you're referencing ICE and some of the protests and things like that. I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect. And I hope that when people look at athletes compete in the Olympics, they realize that that's the America that we're trying to represent.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. If it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
It's all about me. It's all about me. That's Hunter Hess. The guy before him was Chris Lillis. Those are freestyle skaters from the U.S. in a pre-Olympic press conference for the weekend. They don't compete until later, apparently. I think around the 19th. That last guy is competing for qualification on the 19th. So,
nothing new under the sun at the Olympics.
Yeah, I guess
those of us can remember 1968 Mexico City with Tommy Smith and John Carlos after they won the 200 meters and the Star Spangled Banner played. They stood on the podium with black gloves, heads bowed, doing the Black Power salute.
Yeah,
and boy, they caught it for that.
I don't know. I just feel as though it's always essentially anathema for an American president or it used to be, or for elected officials at that level, the federal level, to speak ill of America when you're on foreign soil, right? And I guess I feel the way I do about this. I don't feel as though it's appropriate. Do they have the right to do that? Of course. I mean, that's fine. And I don't know, many people that are in the military would say, you're darn right, I fought for that. Many people in the military would say, I fought for freedom of speech, but I wish I could see a little patriotism, for crying out loud, right? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at this, but I don't think tax money supports the training of these people, doesn't it? Isn't it the Olympic Foundation or whatever it is? Aren't they a privately funded deal? Or do we taxpayers support this?
I don't know.
Well, either way, I think that most Olympians go out on their own dime, at least to start up and get training.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like they're born and they're tearing the tax dollars up. So
I'm not wishing these guys ill, but I don't know that I'm going to be rooting for them the same way I would that someone just said, I love this country. America's a beautiful place. I hope to win.
Yeah.
It's hard to get all excited about people who bring that message to the Olympics rather than, it's a great competition. I've really worked my whole life for this. Thanks for all my friends and family and community that supported me, and go America.
Remember what happened in 1980 with the Russian invasion of Afghanistan and the U.S. pulled out of the Olympics?
Yep.
Now, that was a deal. And there was a Columbia man who was sure to be a medalist in the high hurdles, and that's Columbia dentist Dan Levitt. Mm-hmm. Dan wasn't able to compete.
It would be one thing if, the Olympics was the big sport or whatever they're doing, the little free skating. But, I mean, they're not even top 10 sports in America, I'd say. The Olympics are not that high up on most people's scale of sports. You got football, baseball, hockey, basketball. Then there's all the college athletics. I mean, they have it's funny because they're standing on this pedestal, but it's not that high. They're preaching to the woke left and all of that, but I mean, who cares?
I think it's really interesting. I just I don't know how I feel about that. I think I really enjoy watching the Olympics. I don't really care at the end. I mean, I want Americans to win. That's great. But I love watching the performances. And you just imagine yourself in any kind of a sports endeavor you've done. If you go out and play some Friday night, softball with the guys, you think about how difficult it is to just hit the ball, catch the ball, throw the ball. It's tough. Go out and throw a pass that, try to get a guy running across the cutting across and trying to lead the guy and do that. And then you look at the performance of these people. Try to do the decathlon, you have to appreciate the performance that's going on.
I'll appreciate it when they put on pads and then we can do some Oklahoma drills. Then my bonehead, it's I don't know. I just see I see all these. This reminds me of Colin Kaepernick. Honestly, this is what
yes.
But that was a lot more. That had a lot more push. That had a lot more publicity because Colin Kaepernick was in the NFL, not playing in, Milan once every 4 years. So I mean,
and I think speaking about the difference in different athletes and your overall perception of them and approval or not, and interest in them. More and more, I'm turned off by the NFL and their athletes because they're part of a machine that actually is so, at least for many Americans, just so not about us anymore. And you look at the college athletes, and we talk about the NIL and all the portal, but man, it's just it's a game that still is about the game mostly, rather than about all the fluff and the halftime show and the whatever. It's about the game, and that's what's so nice about the college athletics.
I would. No, I agree with you, but I also disagree with you because I agree.
What's new about that?
The NFL is like all this puff, all this other stuff. They're trying to be political. But college sports, I'd say the biggest part of it is everything not on the field. I mean, you have the student section, the marching bands, the rivalries, all of these huge things that give all of the games meaning.
TV revenue.
Well, yeah, but it still is ultimately the center of attraction is the game and the support of it, right?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, in the NFL, they got all the fireworks going. People run out on the field. They got the flamer things going and the fireworks.
We do that at Mizzou, too.
Huh?
We do that at Mizzou, too.
Yeah.
I was I'm telling you what, Randy, that is something that no one thinks about in, college athletics. I was standing there in the band playing while the football players were coming out, and you randomly hear, whoosh. And right behind you, I feel the hairs on my back is
you
cinched.
Get scorched?
Yeah, you get scorched.
Yeah, I just I want to concentrate on the performance and on the amazing skill level. I mean, it's just and again, I've already said I'm just thrilled to see that some of the revival going on, the revival of faith among young people is being witnessed by these guys at very high levels. Mendoza, others, and now the NFL. We got to hand it. The two quarterbacks, didn't they talk about their faith? Drake May. He probably should have prayed a little bit more before the game. I don't know.
Yeah, Drake May.
What happened with Drake May? His man.
I'll tell you, it's a guy named Will Campbell. He is a left tackle, and he opened up the doors for every person to go rush Drake May. I think he gave up like 14 pressures, which is not great.
Yeah, so the O-line can make a quarterback awfully skittish and look bad, right? I mean, ultimately. And they can make a running back, a Heisman Trophy running back too, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with these football players and other athletes that are a lot more physical rather than skating and ice dancing. It's that they have you have to really, really work for it. It's not like perfecting every move. You are tested, and even if you play the best game of your life, you still wake up praying that your bruises are not going to hurt you.
That you're intact.
Much.
Yeah. We had a little time to talk about this. We didn't get to talk about the fact that the job market is an interesting thing. I think it's undeniable that the trade job market is hot and will remain hot. Right? As long as there's any semblance of an economy and people are building things or need to repair things, there's always going to be. And I've been talking to more and more people that just extol the virtues of our own Lynn Tech here in Missouri, and how, man, those guys are turning out some fabulous vocational people. But I think the white collar job market is absolutely just going to crumble with this AI revolution. And what is that going to mean for the job market at large, for the economy at large? What's it going to be? Well, now this story talking about job hunters that are displaced are so desperate, almost exclusively, of course, white-collar folks lost their gig. They're so desperate, they're paying to get recruited. So they're paying recruiters to now file all these applications for them, right? Because you have to do that. No?
I mean, I agree with you, but I also say this is a good thing because we have so many administration roles in all of these white-collar jobs. You talk about in hospitals, like the hospital administrators and all of that, what used to take 20 people now can take 5, and you see a lot of these administrator roles kind of get dialed down, and then you can, kind of figure out where the job market's going. Yeah. Let's say you can, now those 5 people are getting paid more, and also they can do a lot more work, a lot easier, and you just got to I don't think that it's all that bad yet.
Well, they've got this one place called Refer AI. Well, the place is called Refer. They have an AI agent that connected this guy who's a volunteer manager at Golden. He's an executive at Golden that he connected him with, a job applicant. They were looking for a platform engineer and data scientist. This guy got several interviews, then he landed a job. You know what he had to pay the company Refer, the recruiting company that was doing reverse recruiting? They were basically going out and reaching out to recruiters on his behalf. 20% of his first month's pay once it landed in his bank account. So you figure if the guy's, sounds like a pretty high-level engineer, if he's making $15,000 a year, that's a pretty good scratch for the Refer company.
And this career path, mass media and communications, we've heard the stories nationally of those graduates having a hard time because of the competition trying to find entry-level jobs. It's not just your fine arts people and your people with degrees in anthropology and all those kind of things. It's not.
I just think this is the revolution that is probably going to make the internet look puny in comparison. I think. I could be wrong.
I think so too.
It's going to be a game changer. I don't think it's Armageddon time, but people are going to have to be nimble. And I keep hearing. I heard it on the first program before us, America's First News, where they were talking about how HR people, folks, leading departments that are hiring people, they are looking for people who may have AI skills and can use that as a tool to do their jobs. But they want people. We still need people to communicate mano a mano, person to salesperson to vendor, to customer, and communication skills with the social media and digitized generations we've had over the last generation or two. Communication skills can sometimes be lacking a bit in terms of just comfort, if nothing else, comfort level. Just looking someone in the eye and have a conversation with them. It's like, can we text about that? Email me. We'll think about it. When we come back, I was at a area mall, strip mall. And as I was driving through, something occurred to me I want to ask you about when we come back and wrap it up with Leftovers.
It's Wake Up
In on the observation of human behavior segment of the show. You enjoy watching people sort of like human behavior fascinates me.
You know, a lot of the times for lunch, I'll go to the Chipotle on Stadium.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a PetSmart that's, like, angled, like, in a really weird way, so you can kind of just watch everyone around the mall. It's so much fun.
It is. Or, you know, you're sitting at a restaurant and you watch a family come in, and it's family time, and you think, and then they all sit there for the next 20 minutes buried in their phones. You know, it's just interesting. So something that caught me the other day, I was in a bit of a hurry. And I was driving along sort of the inner lane that goes along a strip mall where you maybe have a few big box stores and there's some smaller places, you know, a haircut place and a little restaurant, a little sushi joint or whatever, dollar store. So there's not a crosswalk at every place, right? But I was in a hurry, but that's okay. I'm the motorist and I know the law. I know the rule. We all know the rule. Got it. Stop for the pedestrian. Pedestrian is right. And this maybe is a bit of a frost my buns moment. Gary Nolan coming up at 9 o'clock, by the way, after the program. See if it frosts Gary's buns. Maybe he can talk about that sometime. But I noticed, and it happens a lot, where pedestrians will they're parked out in the lot and they just walk through like they own the place. They're oblivious to what's happening on the road. And I'm wondering, are they just sort of like, they're just not thinking about it? Or are they like, I got the right of way? Some of them, they walk in front of you, and I mean, they're nonchalant. They almost slow down. It's like, hey.
Probably both.
I got the way, baby.
Some people who actively say, I've got the right of way, which they do, and others.
But it's almost
college kids or something.
Have you ever seen something? It's almost
else.
like they're giving you the proverbial middle finger without doing it, you know? Whereas when someone stops for me, I don't care if I have the right of way or not. I thank them because I'm slowing them down. Had I not been there needing to cross, they could have gotten to their destination sooner. That goes through my mind. So I'm like, hey, thank you. And I usually will run in my very dad bod kind of way, try to run across. So I
usually wave at them to make sure they see me.
But you know,
they don't mow you down in the crosswalk.
I think everyone out there knows what I'm talking about. And I'll bet very few of the Wake Up family doesn't show gratitude when someone does something that's not special. They have to do it, but, you know, they're stopping. They could have gotten to their destination quicker, but they're yielding, as they should. You thank them. You don't see a lot of that anymore. People just, like, take off. First of all, it's dangerous for them.
Or they're so preoccupied on their phone while they're driving that they're not supposed to be, but they are. Or pedestrians.
I love it when once in a while you'll get someone that'll be crossing. They look at you. They look at you and slow down. I swear to God. If you put a radar gun on them, they'd slow down. I don't know what they're trying to prove. It's like, I got the right of way. Deal with it.
You know, I got to say, I learned, whenever I first got to college, I learned something very big about myself and said I definitely have a pretty bias because whenever I'm doing that and a pretty girl walks by, I'm definitely not as mad if it's some ugly as sin person
you hope
walks
she
by.
slows down.
Yes, exactly.
Should I play the girl from Ipanema here?
I know what that is.
You know
Randy.
the girl from Ipanema? Well, yeah, from marching band, right? Did you ever play that in marching band?
We didn't play it. No, I just know music.
Girl from Ipanema, that's back in the 60s. How would you know that song?
Well, he's a Bad Bunny fan. He knows all that Latin stuff.
I don't know why that gets my goat when people just look at you and just arrogantly walk across. They never even acknowledge that you stopped for them, especially if you stopped in a non-right-of-way.
Ooh, yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
Frank says, Randy, people don't give up. I'm a waver and open doors for folks. You go, Frank. John always gives a wave. Paul, Randy, disloyal to their country. Check out the story of Eileen Goode. All right. Hey, thanks for being with us this and every morning on Wake Up Missouri. Stay tuned for Gary Nolan. Don't miss the Eagle Eye Drive on 5 with Mike Murphy later on today. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow on Wake Up Missouri. Bye. Not good.